Hi everyone, this is Liz from Creative Life of Liz, and I am here to do my May reading journal, book bullet journal, whatever you want to call it, setup. This is in my American Crafts, I think, dot grid. It's in the dot grid I got from Michael's, whatever it's called, that I've been using all year. Before we dig into what I'm going to be doing for May, we might as well see how I'm doing thus far for the entire year. The cover page, none of that has changed. I'm doing pretty well on my reading in April. For the most part, I had a couple of weekends that were pretty busy. Today is Wednesday the 24th, so still a week left in this month. That's why it's not all filled in, but doing pretty well. Also keeping up with my general reading goals for this year. You might notice there's now a strip of washi here along the side. And that's because I decided to participate in this year's Our Fantasy Bingo from Reddit. So if you're familiar, this is a reading bingo board that has 25 prompts. You work on them from April 1st to May 31st of the following year. You can read any fantasy, sci-fi, some horror. It's really about speculative fiction that fits into this. There's a hero mode in which you review each book. There's a hard mode, which is what is in parentheses along here, which makes it basically a harder prompt. It's a prompt on top of a prompt. You have to use a different book for each of the 25 squares, and you cannot repeat authors with the exception of the 5 short stories. If you're not just reading from a single author, if you're reading a bunch, you can repeat to other things. Anyway, basically, no repeats of authors, minimal rereads. That's the goal of this. There's a variety of prompts trying to make you read more diversely. And so I made a kind of little tip-in out of a full page that I cut out of the back of the planner. And then I just trimmed it down so that it has rounded corners and all that. And I taped it in. And so this side has the bingo board on it. And then this side has what books I've been using. I did replace the last prompt that's to read from one of the Our Fantasy book clubs or read-alongs and participate. I'm just not gonna ever get to that. So I filled that in with a different prompt already, but making good progress there. So I just flipped that in. And then this page continues with the buzzword readathon as expected, which again, making good progress on. I already finished the Read Around the World-a-thon. That wasn't anything new for you guys. I have made some more progress on Pop Sugar. We're definitely in the hard ones, but I did manage to crank out 4 so far this month, and I think I'm gonna get to at least 1 more. So I am making good progress on this one as well. And then I added 4 more to Romanceopoly, and I participated in the Aurelium Spring Equinox Challenge for Magical Readathon. So making good progress there as well. Moving into the updates that you haven't seen yet. Let's see. Here's my March book summaries from when I finished up the month. My favorite book of the month was Only and Forever by Chloe Leese. This is the last of the Bergman brothers books. Not my favorite in the series, but it was still very emotional. It was still a really good read. I really enjoyed it. The book I was most excited about was called The Bomb, The Weapon That Changed the World by Didier Alcante, Laurent Frederic Boulet, and Denis Rodier. These are French, well, Belgian and French authors. They made a graphic novel which been put into English about the building of the atomic bomb. I just thought it was a very interesting read, and I enjoyed that it was in graphic novel format, although it was still like 500 pages. So not as fast as you might expect, but still a really good read. My biggest disappointment was A Holly Jolly Ever After by Sierra Simone and Julie Murphy. I actually DNF'd that book very quickly. I just was not vibing with it. My top recommendations of the month were Only and Forever by Chloe Leese, unsurprising there. The Bomb, again, unsurprising. Free for All, Oddballs, Geeks, and Gangstas in the Public Library by Don Borchardt. He was a public librarian in Southern California. He might still be, I don't know. He was when this book was published. And he just wrote a little bit about what it's like to be a librarian in that kind of space. which was interesting. Some of it is obviously out of date, as this book has been out for about 20 years now, but it was still really interesting to read. Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. It was just a fun, quirky read. Honestly, I think the audiobook's the way to go on that one. And then lastly, How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kwan. This is her author debut. She's the one who is adapting some of the Emily Henry books into screenplays. But it was a very good book and definitely very good for a debut. I think that she is a strong writer. And then here's my statistics for the month. It's a little hard for you guys to read, but I read 32 books, about 9,800 pages. I had that one DNF. Average rating of 3.7 stars, so pretty good overall. About half and half on new and known authors. About a third of my books were own voices. Not as good as I've done in some other months, but not terrible overall, so I'm just gonna go with it. Then we're gonna move into April with my little bees theme, which is still really cute here. I just realized I never actually completed that bee. Well then, maybe we should go back and fix it. Sorry, I totally just moved the camera, I'm sure, and you just got to see me being awkward. Anyway, we're gonna find a pen. Hopefully this is the same one. And we're just gonna live turn that into a little bee. Great, now it's a bee. I did not even notice it before, but that's super cute. I did complete my 4 Romanceopoly prompts that I pulled for this month. Some of them were actually pretty hard for me to get just because they're not things that I particularly care about. I don't read a lot of, but I did manage to get them done. So that was an accomplishment, and I have read both of my April priority reads. The Swans of Harlem, highly recommend. I'll just tell you that right now. It comes out on the 30th of April. Highly recommend, definitely read it. It's really good. All right, moving on to the next page. I'm covering this up. So for the Magical Readathon, I did all of the prompts, and then I started the side quest, and then I just kind of forgot about it. So that's where we are. The reason I'm covering this up is you do prediction bingo for one of them, and this is my prediction bingo, and I don't want to spoil anything for anyone if you decide you want to read A Fate Inked in Blood and you haven't yet. Covering it up. But I end up with this like blank space just because I got distracted, and maybe I'll come back to it, but probably not, let's be honest. Moving on, here's what I've been reading this month. It's been a meh reading month overall. I've read a good amount of books, but I feel like overall my ratings have been a little meh. But I have read a few good ones along the way. I really enjoyed Me by Elton John. It's a memoir. That was really fun. And then Knowing You by E.M. Lindsay. That was really good. And then The Swans of Harlem, as I mentioned. That one was really good. So I've read a few really good ones and a lot of meh ones during the month. But we do still have a week left in the month, so I have this little space here. And then I'm going to save these 2 pages for putting whatever I read during this week. And then I have these 2 pages for my book summaries, my what was my favorite, what was I most surprised by, what was I most disappointed by, my top reads, you know, that section. This page is going to be for my statistics. And then that leaves this page to be where I start May. So for this month, I did pull out this washi tape. You might have already seen it if you saw my May or Estelle personal planner setup. But it's like stationery tape from Jet Pens, and I think it's so cute, and it has a little bit of gold foiling. I got it as a birthday gift from my husband, so thank you to him. Not that he ever watches these, but just in case. But I'm going to use that, and then I pulled out a zebra mile liner. This color is called Dark Blue. It's kind of a bluey purple color. And then I pulled out this purple I By Am fine liner to use for this month. So hopefully that'll cover everything. My plan is to make kind of a stationery-esque theme for the month. Back in February, I used like a lot of washi tape, so I want to make sure it ends up looking enough different from this, but still using some washi tape. So we'll see what I end up putting together. But I'm going to do that, and then I have a couple of readathons to set up some pages for, and a couple more that I'm still deciding if I'm going to participate in. So I will let you know about that as well. But I think that's everything. So I'm just gonna speed you through while it takes me 100 years to do all of these steps, and then I will be back so that we can talk through it all. Okay, this is how far we've gotten for today. Hopefully, I mean, it's good enough for now, right? So I put washi along the bottom, and then I drew a bunch of different kinds of stationery. I just found a bunch of different kinds of doodles online and then based my own off of it. It doesn't really look like any of the doodles online, to be honest. Not a great drawer, but generally got there and colored some things in so that, you know, it looks more interesting. I did pull out my Pilot Varsity pen in black, which is a fountain pen. It didn't really super write like one, but I just wanted something black to make the May stand out a little bit more. And then I put my May Romanceopoly prompts. I haven't spun for those yet. I will get to it eventually. And my May priority reads here. I just did all caps with like a highlight through them. And then I'm participating in Escape the Readathon. I'm part of the snack squad. Highly recommend you join us. It'll be shenanigans, but hopefully it will be really fun. I just wrote down the buildings and prompts, and then as we get to games, I left all of this space for that. And then for each individual read, I will just submit it and then put in the details for the individual read, what I submitted it for, because that's all I really need to know, because every read should count for something this year. So therefore, that's all I really need to include. But I'm assuming that the games and shenanigans will take up this much space during the month. That's my best guess. If I need more, I'll always create another page. And then I have the Whodunit Readathon. I forgot to add a little highlight to this title, so I will do that right now. But the Whodunit Readathon is a Clue or Cluedo inspired readathon. This one just needs one page based on last year's. Probably I can turn this into just 3 books because you can have it count for up to 1 suspect, 1 weapon, and 1 room for each book, and you need 3 of each to be able to complete the readathon. So probably I only need 3 books total to make it happen, maybe 4, so I can fit that into here. So that's all I filled in. The other things I'm thinking about is maybe the Asian readathon. I'm not super into the prompts this year. I do try to read books by a variety of different authors with different races and ethnicities and countries of origin throughout the year. So I do try to read Asian books regardless of whether it's Asian American Pacific Islander month or whatever the month is called, and whether or not it's participating in the Asian readathon. I'm thinking about it, but I just haven't decided if it's actually going to be viable in its current form for me with the prompts. Just don't know if that's going to be fun with these other readathons, because I know that they are going to cause a lot of shenanigans. But thinking about it, if that happens, I'll set up a page there. It's, I think, 5 prompts, not too bad. Maybe I'll just double count some things. Honestly, I could probably just make them, all the prompts fit into like 2 books or something. But we'll see how that goes. And then the other one I'm thinking about is the current round of the final book support group, which I think is round 12, which will be over the first weekend of May. So I might set up something there as well. But as of right now, the rest of these pages are just being used for whatever I end up reading. I will put in the reading challenges they count for, which includes whatever Escape the Readathon building or game or whatever it's counting for, plus anything else that it fits in. And hopefully I will get these done. But that's all I have for today. As always, please like and subscribe below if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. It helps me out. I will link the readathons that I mentioned down below, but let me know if there's any others that you're participating in or ones you're excited about for June, if you already know about any for June, because I would love to think about what's going on then and be able to plan ahead for that as well. Let me know what you're also planning to read for May, what you're excited about, or things that you think I would enjoy. I would love to hear about that as well. If you don't have anything to say, then leave me some sort of stationery themed emoji down below just to say hi. I would love to hear from you. And then follow me on Instagram at Creative Life of Liz. You can see in progress and finished spreads of this planner, my other planners. I show you bits and pieces of my life, what I'm reading, all that good stuff. And until next time, bye.